Hey guys, hope everybody's staying safe out there. This is my solar PV system, and I just dug this trench, and I did do this with the tractor. I did not do it by hand. I had to do a little bit by hand, but anyway, yeah, so this is the video. It's part 3 basically. This is wiring the solar panels up. And here I am using some 3/4 inch PVC pipe, and that is my heat gun, and this is how I bend PVC pipe. You can use, they actually have a proper tool for this, and we used to use them back when I did electrical work. It was just a box, and you'd slide the PVC pipe in, and it had a big element inside of it and some reflective surfaces, and you just spin the pipe around and it would heat up. But not everybody has one of them, so this is another way to do it with a heat gun. You just basically keep going over the pipe and make sure you keep moving. I think I had the heat gun set around 300, maybe 350, and it just it warms up. It's just plastic, so it just heats up the plastic, and it'll start to get soft, and when it gets soft enough, you can just bend it. Just be careful not to bend it too sharp, or too quick. If you bend it before it's not ready, it'll kink, and then you'll have a problem. So, but anyway, yeah, this is a good way to do it with the heat gun. It seems to work pretty good. We used to have to do it this way too when I used to do electrical work years ago. That's actually how I learned to do it, doing electrical work. But we did also have those heater boxes, PVC heater boxes too, that we used to use. So, but this way works pretty good too. And the pipe is it is 3/4 inch PVC, and I believe the lengths were, I think they're 10-foot lengths. I'm pretty sure they're 10-foot lengths of pipe. So. I am sorry that this video is a little bit longer too, but I thought everybody'd like to see, the start to finish process of wiring up the solar panels. So I speeded this up as much as I could, but so that you could still see what I'm doing. So, but yeah, sorry that it is a little bit longer of a video, but if you want to jump ahead, feel free. So here I'm just, this is the pipe in the trench. So all I did is I just basically bent a 90 on a bunch of those pipes. I needed 4 pipes with 90s on them. So I just bent 4 of them the same approximately. And that's just to come up on the 6x6 posts. That's all that's for. And that thing I just stuck on the end of the pipe there that is very important. That is an expansion joint. You really need that anytime you come from underground to above ground, and the reason is because of frost. If you did not have that, the frost would heave that pipe up, and it could break or snap the pipe in the wintertime. So it's very important to have that expansion joint in there. We usually just put them just as they're coming out of the ground, and that's all it's for. It's just for frost. Now, if you live in an area where you don't get any frost in the ground, that would not be a concern for you, and maybe in your area you would not need that. But where we are up here in Canada, we get frost in the ground, so that is something that we require by code to have that. Anyway, I just thought I'd mention that, and those are just some 3/4 inch straps that I'm going to strap it to the post with. So I filled in the hole a little bit, and this here is just tracer tape. It's just caution tape. And what that's for is if somebody down the road decides to dig there for some reason, the idea is they'll hit that and know there's something buried there, electrical, before they hit and cut through the pipe. That's the idea of it anyway. So, but yeah, so now I'm just using the tractor to basically fill in the hole. And I gotta say, I love this little tractor. John Deere 3520, great little machine. It's done a pile of work for us, and it's worked very well. We've had almost no issues with it over the years. I mean, there's been some minor stuff, but yeah, great little tractor. And John Deere did not sponsor me in this video. Nobody sponsored me in this video, just so you know that. But yeah, I do love that tractor. That's a great little tractor. Saves a lot of back-breaking work, I gotta say. So here I am starting to, I'm pulling the wire. This is number 10 wire, and I used red and black, number 10, and basically that's just to distinguish positive and negative. That's all that's for. But yeah, I'm pulling 4 wires from here, which is right by the inverter, out to that first set of panels, and then I'm going to continue on with 2 more wires down underground and back up to the last set of panels. So this first pull was a little bit tight because it was 4 wires, but 4 wires will fit in a 3/4 inch PVC pipe without any trouble. But yeah, so, and it would have been a help too if I had had somebody else feeding them into the pipe. It was a little hard doing it myself, but I got it done. It wasn't too bad. So here, this is the connectors for the end of the panels. So this is the last connect. This is the positive on the positive end. And I don't connect that. I leave that unhooked. I actually leave both ends unhooked where the number 10 wire comes up. So this plug, this is the negative and this is the positive. And all we got to do is plug them together because all these panels are wired in series. Each string of panels is wired in series. Or a easier way to say that might be each rack is wired in series. So there is 8 panels on this rack. There's 8 panels on the other rack. And each one of those panels, we're just plugging these connectors together. So that puts them in series. And that's it. They just snap in. There's not really much to it at all. And then once they're all hooked up, I'll go back to the inverter and make my connections at the inverter. And once the inverter's connected, then I come back out and I plug in the 2 ends. The reason I do that is because if I leave those ends unplugged off the panels, then there's no solar power coming back on those wires where the inverter is. Because this is DC power. And when these are all connected, there's close to 300 watts there of DC power, which that'll give you a pretty big jolt. You'll feel it for sure. So the safest way to do it, or I find anyway to do it, is to connect all your panels together, leave your last connections, the ones on the end, don't connect them. And that way there's no way any power is coming back to the inverter. I just think it's the safest way to do it. And that's how I do it, and haven't had any problem at all. So I believe that's the last one there. So just snap them together, and that's it. And then this is the last one, so I leave that one alone. I don't touch it. And then I'll go up to the inverter. And here's those wires coming up into the inverter. So there's no, like, I can touch those wires right now and I don't have to worry about getting a shock or anything. So because they're not hooked up out of the panels yet. So, and on the inverter, this is a 10,000 watt Grow Watt, it's called. That's the company inverter. It's been a great inverter. I've had it up and running since when did I set this up? I'm going to say last September, I think, something like that. I had it running, and it worked really good. I've had no issues with it at all. The only problem I did have, and it wasn't with the actual inverter, it was with the little board. There's a little board there with a blinking blue light on it. That's the RF module, and that sends a signal to a shine box, it's called, and it basically just transfers data to the server, online server, so that you can see what your system is doing. And I was having a big problem getting that to work, but as it turned out, it was just some settings on the shine box. That's all it was. So, but yeah, so all I'm doing here now is I'm just hooking up these wires. That's the positive, and the inverter's marked positive and negative. So, and that's the negative one there. And I believe that, yeah, that's string 2. And then the next one is string 3, and same thing. The positive goes on the positive, and the negative goes on the negative. And that's it. And because nothing's hooked up at the panel, I don't have to worry about getting a shock there. I have the inverter AC power shut off right now. I turned off the PV power. There's a switch on the bottom. I turned off the PV power. You still got to be careful though when you're doing this. I would recommend getting an electrician to do this part of it, unless you have an electrical background and you're fairly knowledgeable at it. But it's probably better to get an electrician to make sure everything's done properly and you're not going to have issues down the road. The other thing too is grounding. You have to run a ground wire from the bottom of that inverter down underground, and that ground wire has to connect. In my case, I had to connect it to each piece of the metal unistrut you see there to ground the whole system. And that's very important too. So there is some stuff you definitely got to know if you're going to be hooking one of these up. And like I said, I'd strongly recommend just getting an electrician. Now, as far as plugging the panels together, that's pretty straightforward. It's pretty hard to mess that up. As long as you keep in mind, you got to have positive, negative if you're going to put them in series. So here I'm just plugging in each end. So all the panels will be up and powered up now. That's the positive. And I'm doing the same thing on this one. Now this one here, I think I had there's 2 little metal tabs that have to slide into one another. And sometimes, every now and then, you can get one that little metal tab is bent just slightly. So you have to take a screwdriver and stick it in there and just bend it a little bit. I knew there was no power on that wire, so it wasn't an issue to just go get a screwdriver and bend it a little bit. Didn't hurt anything at all. But sometimes that happens, especially with the connections that you have to make up yourself. Sometimes those little tabs can go in a little bit crooked. And I usually just take a small little screwdriver and just give them a pry one way or the other, and they usually straighten up pretty good, and then your connector will clip together. It's usually not a big deal. So there, I just have a little screwdriver, and I'm just going to give that a little bit of a bend. I'm just trying to get it in the center of the plug. So now we'll see if this will snap together. And there you go. And that's it. So now everything should be snapped together. Panels are all hooked up. And now we are making power. I can't remember exactly what it was making on this day, but I know on a full sun day it'll certainly get up there. I got to finish painting the inside of that rack. So there you go. So now we're going to snap on the PV circuit breaker there. That's our PV switch, I should say. It's not a circuit breaker. It's just a switch. And that turns on the PV power. And then I have to go and flip on the breaker for the inverter, which is what I'm doing now. So everything should come back online and we'll be making power. And that's it. Anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry it is a little longer than some of my other videos, but there was a lot to cover here with the trench and the piping and the wiring. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Please like and subscribe to my channel. It helps me out, and I really enjoy doing this. Anyway, everybody stay safe, and we'll see you or talk to you on the next video.